Looking at Bitcoin on the 6-month chart, the 3-month chart, and the 1-year chart, there is a similarity. There is something that creates a harmony between Bitcoin cycles that we need to pay attention to. So let's start with the 6-month chart and understand what the cycle peaks were. We had the peak here, the peak here, or here, right? Better saying here, okay? And the peak supposedly it should be around here, okay? On the 6-month chart, we have this chart, and we also have this one from 2013, right? What is the similarity we have here? Let me remove this last one here. What is the similarity we have in these last 3 cycle peaks? The formation of the top bar happened in July 2013, in July 2017. 6-month bar, that is in the second half of an odd month, of an odd year. Sorry. So look, July to December 2013, top formation. July to December 2017, top formation. July to December 2021, top formation. Exactly 4 years. 4 years of difference, and we have this top formation. That is, we would need to have a top formation in this little bar here will close in June, and in July the next little bar will open. The top formation of BTC, if the theory, right, if what the chart has been indicating happens, would be for us to form this top between July and December 2025. All right, this is on the 6-month chart, okay? Later I will set the targets here to see if there is any confluence regarding Bitcoin's targets. But when I reduce the time frame and I use the 3-month chart, this same tuning happens in a more streamlined way. I can detail more in which possible months Bitcoin formed the top. So look, when I take 2013 here, it was in the 3-month bar that opened in October. That is between October and December 2013, we had the formation of a top. When I come here, October 2017, between October and December 2017, formation of a top. When I come here, right, because here we broke the all-time high and then rejected it between October and December 2021, we had the formation of a top. What would bring us to, well, at least this bar here opened now in April. So April, May, and June, we would close it. Then July, August, September, we would close it. Then October, November, December, we would still have 3 bars here on the 3-month chart that would probably be an ignition move to reach the cycle top, right? In terms of the chart, in terms of history, we could take a chart formation like a channel here, or like a wedge, which if, man, any chart formation you want to make, that you want to find, you will find here. I see it as a large channel. I could even ignore this touch here and move it over here for a more symmetrical channel. See, we could take this symmetrical little channel here with targets, man, up there seen, right? But notice the similarity we have in the 6-month chart, narrowing it down a bit more in the 3-month chart. We could even reduce it to the monthly chart and get closer to the months of top formation, but I think it's not necessary. It's important for us to focus on the 3-month chart, right? So we have this similarity, we have this history that indicates to us that the BTC top has always been formed between October and December of an odd year every 4 years, which would bring us to at least another 5 months of upward movement. At least another 4 months of upward movement, continuing the trend until the top formation. Another confluence we have in the cycle is we have never had a top formation in BTC or in a cycle, as many are saying here, with dominance in the stratosphere. This has never happened. Stratosphere, as I say, extremely high. This has never happened. If we take all the declines we have had and then the graph, a 3-month chart will serve us very well. If we look here, look, October 2017 was the peak of BTC. Between October and December 2017. We look here, look. October 2021, it was this last little red candle here. Oh, okay. Dominance at the lows. Then we had a breakout of the BTC peak, a retest, a rejection here, look. July 2022 here, look, around here like this, look, July here in this last little bar here, right? We retested with the lows here, look, in October 2022, which was this green bar here, look, before we started this upward movement here, we reached the BTC peak. So the two BTC peaks from 17 and 21, 2013, I won't consider because it was the opening, it was the beginning of the entire crypto market. But the BTC peaks came with the D in the past two cycles with dominance at the minimum. And we don't have that now. We have Bitcoin at $86,600, okay, right, as we can see here, with dominance at 63%. Is there a possibility for it to rise a bit more? Well, yes. But if we are to take targets here for BTC, take a Fibonacci extension here and put it here, there's the closing and there's the spike. I'm going to take the spike here, okay? In the spike, we have the targets here. So we hit the first target, 62.6% on the 3-month chart. And if we, by chance, go past 64, 65% here, man, we only stop at 70%. That would be the next dominance target. So yes, there is a possibility for us to go there. This, yes, would certainly make Bitcoin break far beyond the historical peak that has been formed up to the present moment, right? And then if we were to come here to 70%, which we don't know, right? No one can predict the future, but we would have a sharp drop for the formation of the real top of BTC, because within the movement, BTC tends to rise much stronger with the dominance falling. We have that peak of euphoria where there's a rotation of money to altcoins, which hasn't happened yet. Although if we look at other charts, which is important for us to go over here, like the total market. Let's take the total market here. We have the breakout of the historical high, but we still, well, did a pullback here, all right? Did a pullback, we're holding on to, who knows, head towards the target. We have targets way up, really way up. We could set targets here, look, around $8 trillion as the initial target for the total market. So this could easily take Bitcoin to the target of, well, $200,000 as there is a target there. We'll go through the targets shortly. But we see this correlation, right? The chart is exactly the same as BTC, exactly the same. It doesn't change at all, right? The total market, you can put it here just to further support with total 2, which is the altcoin money. We have this rejection, right? In my view, there are two possibilities for chart formation here. The first being an ascending triangle. So we would declare a resistance here, okay? And we could oscillate here, and it is a bullish breakout movement upwards. We could also, perhaps, since we haven't broken the all-time high, consider a symmetrical triangle here. This would be a bullish pennant, also a continuation movement. So I remain bullish. We could also consider a cup and handle here. These are three possibilities of extremely bullish formations for the total market for altcoins. But when we look at ETH BTC, especially for those looking at altcoins, right, the ETH BTC opened in the red. If it comes here to retest the low, man, the altcoins will bleed even more. It's been a while since we've seen ETH BTC at these levels. So Ethereum is starting to draw a lot of attention because it's very undervalued. We haven't seen Ethereum at these levels since 2019. It's practically below the COVID bottom, right? So it's very undervalued, extremely oversold. If we put an RSI put a MACD, it's very oversold, it's very stretched. I can set targets Here, extension targets, for us to see what the maximum extension target we can reach is. So notice the maximum target we can, a little further down here, look, the maximum, this target was breached here, this target was breached. So we have here more or less about 10% drop, and it would complete the target of ETBTC. There's not much left to fall. It's 10% at most, but ETBTC is starting to draw a lot of attention. All right, we lost here. Look, this spike, so we are heading towards this last target, and there we should enter an accumulation of ETBTC. Why am I talking about ETBTC? Because this drop we are seeing in altcoins is about to end. We see this in the dominance, which is quite stretched. We see this in ETBTC, which is also reaching minimum regions. And at the same time, various charts already indicate a possibility of wick-off accumulation. So everything is pointing to this at first, okay? At first, all right? Now going back to BTC, for us to understand the targets, as we wrap up here, when I look at ETBTC, I take the old chart, the long chart, and I take all the cycle formations starting from 2013, top and bottom formations, okay? So for each cycle, I'm going to draw a line for us, actually. I'm going to remove this line here and I'm going to put this line here, look. I'm going to put it here, look. All right, this line here will make it easier for us to understand. Top and bottom, okay? I'll leave it red here in the first cycle. I'll leave it here. In the second cycle, I'll keep it turquoise, okay? I'll keep it turquoise here. Top and bottom, okay? I'll put the third cycle here in, let's see here, in green. No, green will be too, I'll make it white, more white, okay? Top and bottom. And I'll set the respective cycle targets, okay? So I'm going to put an arrow here. I'll first put here the FIBGO projection, taking from here. Yes, from this bottom. Okay, bottom of the first cycle of 2015 to the top. I'll first take the closing, okay? Taking the top here, we have a target at $200,000. We have targets at $200,000. Now, if I take this little bottom from back here, look at, okay? And I want to draw your attention to what you're going to see now. This bottom here, from 2011. Now, if I transfer it over here to this top here, surprise. The target was $70,000. Let me remove this target here. Look, the target was $70,000, which we reached, right? If we adjust it properly here, there we'll see 68, 67, 66. The target was here, in this region that we hit in 2021. So notice one thing, when did we break through and make a bullish pivot from this movement? Here in 2017, okay? So we break 2017 and hit the target in 2021, exactly 4 years later. Breakthrough in 2017, target in 2021. A cycle in the middle of the way, which was this one here, you see, of accumulation for us to hit the target. Up to this point, all good, right? Now, I'm making this same projection for this bottom here, you see, of the cycle as well, okay? And putting it here for the closing, I'll take it here for the maximum equa, an average here, an average, okay? Putting here, I'll take here the minimum here, okay? $270,000, all right? The target of this breakthrough, look, we broke through here in 2020, okay? End of 2020, beginning of 2021, all right? We would have to move towards this target, man, here in 2025. But why am I considering 2025? Because here, the breakthrough, right? If we consider the maximum, but the breakthrough happened. Here, in this middle area here, October, November, December. January, it all happened in this middle area here. We spent more time moving sideways. We didn't have that ignition movement. We went and came back for a pullback. So I consider 2021, okay? And also based on what happened in the past, the peak happened in 21. We broke through in 17, it was in 21. So we break through, technically in 21, it was a little before, okay? to form this peak in 25. That's basically it. And the target here, believe it or not, this would be the target of this cycle. It would be around $250,000 to $300,000, okay? Always taking an average. I will always take the minimum value here. Look, taking the closing. The candle breakout, $220,000 would be the minimum target for this 2025 cycle, if everything goes as it did in the past. Yes, looking at the dominance, we saw that it's extremely stretched, so we would need to have this euphoric rise to reach this peak and bring new money into the market for people to cash out. And for us to finish this cycle, that would be it. All right? So the target we have here is around $200,000 minimum target. If I take a more ideal target, it would be around $300,000. So for me, the cycle peak will be formed between $200,000 and $300,000. We have no other indication for this. Of course, based on the cycles we've seen, right? The formation of the BTC peak has to occur between October and December 2025. So we will have to wait until the end of the year to see if we are close to these targets. Being close to these targets, I would already consider it the end of the BTC cycle, but I don't believe that what we're seeing here is the end of a cycle. Because whenever we reach a price peak, we always have strong green bars followed by opposing red bars in all cycles, right? So that hasn't happened here yet. On the contrary, there are very timid bars occurring here, which makes me believe that we still have more room to rise here. And according to the chart formation, for those who like it, we are here within a micro upward channel. I don't see it any other way. I only see this micro channel here, which will certainly break downwards in the future, okay? But if we were to put here the three little bars that we have there, October 25th, believe it or not, it would be hitting exactly $300,000. For me, the top formation will be between 220, to be more exact, and $300,000, okay? The end of the BTC cycle, I believe it hasn't ended yet, all right? And taking a look at the short-term chart here, just to support what's happening with BTC, looking at this movement, we see here that we break the all-time high, a beautiful cup and handle. Look, a beautiful cup and handle that was broken. That's a fact. This cup and handle was broken. I take here a BTC resistance, weekly chart, all right? It would even be plausible for us to return here to the $70,000 range, but I don't think so. I think we're going to go lower, looking at the top movement. That was formed and the bottom. We hit target 1 here, which is usually the most plausible target 1 up, right? And when we hit a target, we enter an accumulation on a smaller chart, in this case daily, we go rise, distributing in a wedge, right? So we see this movement, look, we rise, distributing in a wedge within a Wyckoff accumulation. Here we had a Wyckoff accumulation, right? It rises, distributing in a wedge, breaks downwards, hits the weekly target, and we are evolving towards a weekly upward pivot, right? So we have this trend line here that will probably o começar a be broken a large point in the coming days, and will lead us towards initially this price average to this mess around the $100,000 mark, right? Surpassing 100,000, then things get more attractive. But coming here to the weekly chart, to understand this movement, we have this bottom formation. It left a red candle. This red candle already gives us room to have targets. So here we have the BTC target, a little lower here, around $97,400, $97,500 being the first target, and the most likely target around $103,000, the breakout target of this high here, right? This high here at $89,000 approximately. Breaking 89, we will kind of jump to $97,000, all right? And then we'll see
what the next formations will be, but everything suggests that we are going higher. All right? We're in this together, folks. I'll release more videos soon, so don't forget to subscribe to this channel so we can reach the end of this cycle together. Big hug